what's an area where you're in your head and you're protecting and you don't want to be in there anymore? Can you think of one?
It was when somebody that I love has hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
Then in my head it will be telling me to leave the person alone.
Mm.
But in my heart it will be saying that I shouldn't leave that person.
Mm. That's a great one to go through because it's so real, right? We all love people deeply that hurt us. That's my experience with us as humans. Like we all have that experience. It's so hard because we do love them and they also hurt us. So you don't have to tell me or what the exact experience, but can you think of a very specific time recently where this has happened so you can kind of have that one in mind where they did something or said something that was hurtful?
I really can't remember when was it, but it happened a long time ago.
Okay, a long time ago, great. But you have you know what it is, and that's great. So we'll go through this. And here's what I'll tell you. As we're going through this process, if there are emotions that come up that are painful, normally what we interpret those to be is these are bad emotions. I shouldn't feel them. They're just horrible, and I want to never feel them. So I'm never going to do anything that brings up any emotion that's painful. Versus what I'm going to ask you to do in this process is to recognize, okay, these emotions are a message from my conscience letting me know that what they did to me or the thoughts I have about the experience are unhealthy and they're not for me. They're actually it's almost like, for example, my original example, if I drank milk that had gone bad, my body would tell me, spit it out. This is terrible milk. When somebody does something horrible to us, it feels horrible because it's saying this is not for you. This is gross. Like what they did is terrible. This is not how you should be treated. You are of worth. And if you have thoughts about yourself, say for example someone says something and then you relive it over and over. Oh, I must be dumb, or something's wrong with me, or maybe I deserve this. That painful feeling is telling you that those thoughts are unhealthy. That those thoughts are not for you. It's not, what it's not saying is that it's true. What they said is true. If someone's like, you're the worst, I hate you, all those different things. It is not telling you that it is true and that, that you are, it's saying the opposite. It's saying, hey, you're of value. What they said is not healthy, is not true. Don't believe it. Don't eat it up. Does that make sense? What are you hearing from that?
Yeah, it's true. It makes sense.
It's so hard though, because we've all had these experiences over and over where it feels like if it feels painful, it must be true. So let me give you a real quick example. I'm going to go through this experience. I call it a snapshot because it's like a picture of here's my head side, here's my heart side. So I'll do a quick snapshot for me of when I've been hurt by somebody I love, and then we'll do the same with you, and you can go through the process. So I just thought of an experience that came up. It was years ago as well, where they believed that the choices I was making were kind of foolish. They thought I was naive. They thought I was probably even selfish for some of the choices I was making, and so they expressed this to me. And in my head, when I got in my head about it, I thought about them, which is, what do you know? I was frustrated at them. I thought you don't know what you're thinking and you don't know my heart. And so I had all these defensive, protective thoughts about it, right? And when I had those thoughts, what I felt was anger and frustration. And what I did when that happened was I didn't want to talk to him about it anymore. Now, what I recognize is that the reason that I felt those painful emotions is because I had these thoughts that were not respectful towards them. I was disrespectful. I had thoughts like, oh, you don't know, and so I was being disrespectful towards them. Even though they might have been a little bit disrespectful towards me, I started being disrespectful towards them. And then that painful feeling was saying, this is not for you. This is unhealthy. Choose something different. And eventually I went to my heart and recognized, okay, why did they do, this is my new thought. My new thought was, why did they say that to me? What was the purpose of that? And even is there some insight that they have about what I'm about to go through that might be helpful? And from that, I felt in my heart, I felt more compassion, understanding. And so what I actually did was recognize that they did have some insight that I wanted to listen to and could learn from. And so I actually listened to them, and I still ended up doing something they didn't want me to do because I felt passionate and I felt like it was the right choice for me. But I did listen and leave feedback, and I didn't create that separation between me and them. Now, I don't think my example is the exact same as yours. It sounds like, and I'm not trying to do the exact same example. So your example might be someone is actually really mean and hurtful on purpose, right? It doesn't matter if they were trying to or not. It's great to recognize what was I thinking from my head? How did that feel? And then what did I do? So let's do this. Let's take you through the process. So when you had that experience, and you understand all the details of that. It might be very complicated, but let's try to narrow it down to a couple thoughts. What were you thinking when you were in your head? About them or about yourself?
In my head, I was thinking that I wasn't good enough for them.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah. And that's a very painful thought, right? What did you feel? What were some of the emotions you were feeling? And it's so hard to describe emotions because we're trying to put words onto something that's like just something, inside you, something you feel. But what were some of the feelings that came with that thought?
Sad feelings.
Sad. Totally. And then when you were thinking and feeling that, what did you do when you were in your head?
What did I do?
Yeah. What actions did you take? Sad. And then did you withdraw? Did you kind of pull away from them? Or, tell me more about that. What did you do?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. Pull away.
Which totally makes sense, right? When we're in our head, to protect ourselves, we either fight or flight, and it makes sense to pull away and say, I don't want to be hurt again, right? So let me talk through those a little bit more. So I don't know, and what they exactly said or what they did, but my guess is when they were saying these things, they were coming from their head. They were protecting. They might have been trying to protect themselves or you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't feel good either way. Sometimes people think I'm trying to protect you from being hurt or doing this, or I'm telling you how disappointed I am in you so that you'll do better, but we all do this. We come from our head trying to help almost sometimes, or sometimes we're just in our head and we're angry, whatever it is, but it doesn't feel good because when someone tells us like, you're not good enough, or I don't believe in you, or any of that kind of stuff, that painful feeling is telling you not that it's true that you are not enough or that you're not good enough. It's saying what they're saying is not respectful. They're not accepting your best, and it's not a healthy thought. What they're telling you is not healthy, and probably the thoughts you think about yourself are not healthy, and that you need to choose a new way of thinking. What are your thoughts about that? What are you hearing from that?
A lot of things, like it's teaching me that I should be wiser when it comes to letting the people control my head.
Yes. And it's so hard. I hope one thing you walk away with this conversation is not like, do not beat yourself up over the fact that this is what that you got in your head. Because I guarantee everyone I've ever met with, including myself, we've all done it. This is just so normal for us to do because our head is trying to seek comfort or control. So even though someone does something to us, we latch onto it and be like, oh, I'm going to try to avoid it, or I'm not going to look at it, or I'm going to just believe what they say. So what you're experiencing is so universal because our head takes over. And what's awesome, it sounds like, is you're recognizing I have another choice, because the truth is this, and we obviously don't know each other that well, but here's what I know about you. Just from this conversation and just your willingness to talk. Just your willingness to talk about this shows me that you are courageous. Period, the end. Like, it takes a lot of courage to talk about experiences that are painful. So you're very courageous. So when people are courageous, they can move forward and make changes. They can have a new experience. Number two thing that I know, because you are a human being, you are worthy of respect. It's not something you have to earn. It's not something that you have to, apply for, or, it's something that it's just innate. It's your birthright. You are of worth. You are worthy of people treating you with respect. You are worthy of you treating yourself with respect. Because usually what happens is someone's rude to us, they're terrible to us, they say horrible things, and then we tell ourselves horrible things over and over. We are the ones who then feed ourselves that thought poisoning over and over and over. So, regardless of what you've experienced before, I know this. You are of worth. You are valuable. Not because you've done or earned anything, just like a brand new baby. They're not valuable because they've done anything. They're valuable because they're a human being. And that you are worthy of respect. And so as you go through this process more and more and more, my hope is that you can continue to go through these experiences just like you are right now, courageously looking at them and saying, you know what? Someone told me this, but that feeling was telling me that was not for me. Not that it's true. And that's what I'm hearing is you're starting to recognize that. And we all do it in some ways. And my goal is, hopefully I can support you in just doing it where it's just automatic, where it's like, boom, oh, wait, that's not for me. That's from my head. That's not healthy. I want to choose to be in my heart. But yeah, what are you hearing from what I just shared about that, about you being of worth and being courageous? What are you hearing from that?
Yeah, it makes me feel special because, the most important thing that I like is, like you said, I don't have to have value because I've done something, just like a newborn baby.
Yeah.
They have that worth and they are valuable.
Yeah.
And they never done anything.
Totally.
To get that.
Totally. And I hope and I feel, while I'm telling you this, I feel it. I feel it. Like, I'm telling you this, and I love telling people the truth, because when you're telling truth, your conscience lets you know it's true because it feels right. Just like that painful feeling is saying, hey, your conscience is saying, hey, this is not for you. This is, this is poison. Like, your body will tell you, this is poison. Don't eat this. Your conscience has said, don't put this thought in you. This is poison. And when you tell yourself truth, it feels good. Like, I just telling you that, I know it's true because I feel it. And I feel it because I know it's true for me too. When I tell it to you, it confirms, like, yes, I am of worth, because there's things right now where I'm in my head and I think, man, I'm not doing enough. I'm not blah, 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 all those different things. And I don't feel of worth or worthy of something. But then I start to teach it. I'm like, okay, you got to remember, I'm of worth where I am right now. And that goes back to that second commitment is your best is accepted. Your best, whatever your best looks like right now. And you might look at your best and be like, oh, my best is terrible right now. I'm not doing what I want to do. I'm selfish. I mean, all those things. But guess what? Your best is, let's start wherever your best is. And if you're being respectful to yourself, you're going to start to feel worthy of worth because you no longer have thoughts that are unhealthy. You're going to accept your best wherever that is, and you'll start to progress. And it might be slow, but you'll be steady because you're continuing to move forward. So anything else you're hearing? And then we haven't even gone to the heart side yet. We'll get there in a second. But anything else you're hearing from what I just shared?
No, you can carry on.
Perfect. Okay, so let's go to the heart side. Think of having that exact same experience, but imagine having it completely from your heart. What would you be thinking? And this is a hard thing to do. Like, so I'll definitely help come up with some new thoughts. We got to train our brains to go to our heart and have a new thought. It's hard to do. So don't worry if you don't know what to think, or I don't know what I think from my heart. Totally normal. But say you had that exact same experience, right? They said whatever they said to you. They did whatever they did. What would your new thought if you were completely in your heart be? It could be about them, or it could really be about yourself. What's a new way of thinking?
It would try to understand why would they say those things to me, because I know my worth.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. What if right when they did it, can you imagine how powerful that is? They're doing what they did, and you literally just stop right there from your heart and say, why are you saying this? What are you thinking? What are you experiencing yourself that you would say something to like this to me? Like what are you experiencing? And when you can do that, you recognize, oh, they're in their head. Someone probably told them that same thing about themselves. Or I wonder what they're experiencing. How would it feel if you had those thoughts? What would some of the feelings about yourself and about them be?
Now we go into the thoughts to the mind now.
Yeah. So from your thoughts to then, let's go to, like, how would you feel if that's what you were thinking about them and about yourself?
Oh, you mean if I was thinking, why would they do that?
From your heart, right? Why would they do that? I wonder what they're experiencing. And what I love is your thought of, hey, like, this doesn't make sense because I'm of worth. Like, what if that was your thought too? I'm of worth. This doesn't align, right? Well, how would that feel?
I would feel powerful, but at the same time, sorry for them.
Yeah, you'd feel compassion, right? You'd feel kind of like a compassion for, like, what are they going through that they would do that, right?
Exactly.
And once again, like, it's so hard in the moment when someone you love does something like this. It takes some practice to get to where you, like, truly can come from your heart right away. Sometimes it takes time, but but hopefully you can see, even though this experience happened a long time ago, I want you to go through the process to the point where next time you see them, it's as if you did it from you. They came from their head, and then you responded in your heart. You were thinking, I wonder what they're experiencing. That doesn't align with me. I'm of worth. And you feel compassion. You feel powerful. And so what do? From your heart, you might confront them and say, hey, this is not respectful. Like, hey, this is not, you don't need to treat me like this. Come on. You can do better than this. Or from your heart, you might just say, hey, you know what? This is not for me. Walk away. Whatever it may be. But from your heart, what you do is all about progress, and it's not about reliving this painful experience over and over and over. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So what's cool is what we just did, and once again, this is something that the videos I'm posting on Choose to Rebel, whether it be on Facebook, on TikTok, or Instagram, or YouTube, or whatever it is, like, I'm giving little 3-minute versions of this where I take you head to heart. But what's cool about what you're giving all of us is you're willing to walk through this process and show really a practical example of what it looks like. And then as you do this over and over, it can become very natural where you can think of an experience that's painful and you're like, oh, I'm in my head right now. This emotion is telling me to change my thought. I broke the commitments. Nothing's wrong with me. Nothing's wrong with them. It's just they're in their head, or just I'm in my head, whatever it is. And then you can go from your head to your heart until it just becomes very natural. And then it feels really uncomfortable being in your head because you're like, I just don't want to be there. And that's not healthy. And I'm going to choose something different.